In linguistics and pedagogy, an interlinear gloss is a gloss, series of brief explanations, such as definitions or pronunciations, placed between lines, plus linear, such as between a line of original text and its translation into another language. When glossed, each line of the original text acquires one or more lines of transcription known as an interlinear text or interlinear gloss text, IGT, interlinear for short. Such glosses help the reader follow the relationship between the source text and its translation, and the structure of the original language. In its simplest form, an interlinear gloss is simply a literal, word-for-word translation of the source text. Interlinear glosses have been used for a variety of purposes over a long period of time. One common usage has been to annotate bilingual textbooks for language education. This sort of interlinearization serves to help make the meaning of a source text explicit without attempting to formally model the structural characteristics of the source language. Such annotations have occasionally been expressed not through interlinear layout, but rather through enumeration of words in the object and meta-language. One such example is Wilhelm von Humboldt's annotation of classical Nahuatl. This inline style allows examples to be included within the flow of text, and for the word order of the target language to be written in an order which approximates the target language syntax. In the gloss here, Machiavelli is reordered from the corresponding source order to approximate German syntax more naturally. Even so, this approach requires the readers to realign the correspondences between source and target forms. More modern 19th and 20th century approaches took to glossing vertically, aligning the same sort of word-by-word content in such a way that the meta-language terms were placed vertically below the source language terms. In this style, the given example might be rendered thus: here English gloss. Note that here word ordering is determined by the syntax of the object language. Finally, modern linguists have adopted the practice of using abbreviated grammatical category labels. A 2008 publication which repeats this example labels it as follows. This approach is denser and also requires effort to read, but it is less reliant on the grammatical structure of the meta-language for expressing the semantics of the target forms. In computing, special text markers are provided in specials, Unicode block, to indicate the start and end of interlinear glosses. A semi-standardized set of parsing conventions and grammatical abbreviations is explained in the Leipzig glossing rules. An interlinear text will commonly consist of some or all of the following, usually in this order, from top to bottom. The original orthography, typically in italic or bold italic. A conventional transliteration into the Latin alphabet. A phonetic transcription. A morphophonemic transliteration. A word-by-word or morpheme-by-morpheme gloss, where morphemes within a word are separated by hyphens or other punctuation. And finally, a free translation, which may be placed in a separate paragraph or on the facing page if the structures of the languages are too different for it to follow the text line by line. As an example, the following Taiwanese gloss has been transcribed with 5 lines of text. 1. The standard PEHOEG transliteration. 2. A gloss using tone numbers for the surface tones. 3. A gloss showing the underlying tones in citation form, before undergoing tone sandhi. 4. A morpheme-by-morpheme gloss in English. And 5. An English translation in linguistics. It has become standard to align the words into glossy transcribed morphemes separately. That is, quoting in line 1 above would either require a hyphenated 2-word gloss, or be transcribed without a hyphen, for example as quoting. Grammatical terms are commonly abbreviated and printed in small capitals to keep them distinct from translations, especially when they are frequent or important for analysis. Varying levels of analysis may be detailed. For example, in a Lesbian text using standard romanization, here every Lesbian morpheme is set off with hyphens and glossed separately. Since many of these are difficult to gloss in English, the rows are translated, but the grammatical suffixes are glossed with 3-letter grammatical abbreviations. The same text may be glossed at a different level of analysis. Here the Lesbian morphemes are translated into English as much as possible, only those which correspond to English are set off with hyphens. A more colloquial gloss would be: here the gloss is word for word, rather than setting off Lesbian morphemes with hyphens. The English words in the gloss are joined with periods when more than one is required to translate a Lesbian word. In interlinear morphological glosses, various forms of punctuation separate the glosses. Typically, the words are aligned with their glosses. Within words, a hyphen is used when a boundary is marked in both the text and its gloss, a period when a boundary appears in only one. That is, there should be the same number of words separated with spaces in the text in its gloss, as well as the same number of hyphenated morphemes within a word in its gloss. This is the basic system, and can be applied universally. For example, an underscore may be used instead of a period, as in go_up_pfb, when a single word in the source language happens to correspond to a phrase in the glossing language, though a period would still be used for other situations, such as greet wiki's house.fem.pl.dat to the houses. However, sometimes finer distinctions may be made. For example, clitics may be separated with a double hyphen, or, for ease of typing, an equal sign, rather than a hyphen. Affixes which cause discontinuity, infixes, circumfixes, transfixes, etc., may be set off by angle brackets, and reduplication with tildes, rather than with hyphens. See affix for other examples. Morphemes which cannot be easily separated out, such as umlaut, may be marked with a backslash rather than a period. A few other conventions which are sometimes seen are illustrated in the Leipzig glossing rules.